it's Rumor, and as you can see, I am doing just a very casual handheld video here, just really quickly. In the interest of full disclosure, after sharing my September tarot table decks that I shared earlier this month, I've got a side thing going on over here at my desk where I am bringing in the Margaret Peterson Tarot Anniversary Edition. I have already just shared a video showing my trimmed version of the other edition that has the gray borders, but since I did trim that, and I always kind of wanted to get another copy of it anyway with borders intact, because it is just such a nice deck. I even liked it with all the gray borders too. I thought, hey, this is a good opportunity to enjoy it with this other framing on it, because really, this color scheme with these images is really, really beautiful. But in any case, what I'm doing here, just really quickly, this is my little station for some big questions. So maybe if I want an elaboration on the reading that I've got going on at my tarot table over there, and I don't want to take that down just yet, it's right there. I could do that over here, or if I just have, you know, just something else going on in my mind that I feel like these decks might speak to even better. I do like to use Margaret Peterson to go for more elevated, often spiritual, higher consciousness type readings. And so what I've decided to do is pair it with, well, first of all, just doing simple 3-card readings over here with it. It is a larger deck. There is a lot to take in with each of these images. It's very intuitive. It's nice to just sit and stare into the images and just see what I'm actually seeing in them that might enhance the typical tarot association. But then, as you can also see here, layered on top of it, I have paired it with my Journey Oracle by Kelly Fitzgerald at The Truth and Story. I have her regular sized and travel sized deck. So I've got the mini here just in case I wanted to add yet a further layer in here. And so I will draw 3 of those for the time being. I'm kind of changing up how I might approach that, but purely just to elaborate on the messages that I'm seeing here. And then over here, I've got the actual journey tokens that Kelly had first created before coming out with the deck version of this oracle. You can see the backs of the tokens look like this, the fronts look like that. Accordingly, the deck looks like that on the back. But just to incorporate a little casting action, I'll grab maybe 2, 3 of these. I don't know, whatever I'm kind of feeling. And cast it. And I've got a piece of garnet here, stealing Kelly's own idea for how she marks her tokens that might come up upside down, which indicates a blockage. So just mark that with the crystal right there so that I remember that that did come up as a blockage. And then otherwise I've got this other one falling squarely on 3 of Cups here. That is the crystal support token. And this is the child token, which I find interesting. Well, it fell on Daughter of Cups, daughter being a child, but interestingly, the corresponding oracle card I'd drawn was moving around that cycle to elder and maturity. So that's given me a little something extra to contemplate here. I'm not getting into what this reading was for and what my interpretations are of it, but I simply wanted to jump in and just share that this is something I've got going on extra in addition to my typical tarot table. And okay, so it's another day with another setup here. I just thought I would quickly share another way that I have been using the cards at my side table. This one mainly concentrating on the Journey Oracle system. I have used the standard size cards to create the base layout and shuffled these at random to represent the houses, if you will, the different areas of my life that I should be focusing on, and then laying down the travel size journey oracle cards on top to get more insight into what I should be doing within those areas, or at least like getting a glimpse of the energy surrounding the situation. So in this case, the central cards would indicate what's sort of at the core of this, and everything surrounding is just those energies and factors and what actions I might take. And it's really, really cool being able to do this with these cards in particular in these two different sizes, because it allows me this opportunity to see where messages might be recurring. Visually, you can see I have the new moon here that came up as one of the base cards, but then it showed up again here with will and confidence. And then will and confidence in its mini version showed up here with spring, which is to plant and grow. So I'm not going into the details of this reading, but in general here, there's very much emphasis on setting new intentions, seizing this as an opportunity, a time to plant the seeds of intention and grow them. But in order to do so, I need to have this, strong will and take the action. I can see I have fire here with intuition. So if there is something intuitively calling me, if I am gaining some guidance perhaps by my higher consciousness for what this intention needs to be, this is my cue to kind of light the fire under that and get to it. I also have these others too, but getting more into the reading than I actually intended to. But at the center of it was water, which I did find to be rather poignant for me at this time. And in Kelly's system, the third road represents like kind of the road less taken, that there's not just this or that, there could be this middle road to go. And so it encourages me to look at approaches that maybe I haven't considered yet. And anyways, just to supplement that, I threw a few journey tokens, and so I've got them here accordingly. New moon came up yet again, so it's its third representation here. So obviously intention setting at that time, and I think being very clear in those intentions is quite key. And just as another example, this token would represent a disruption, a shakeup, and I've got it marked with a garnet crystal here because it came up upside down. And that was an indication to me that that's something that's blocked. So sometimes a shakeup can be somewhat detrimental. But in this case, I see that as something that needs to happen actually in order to initiate this new growth perhaps. So again, without getting into particulars of the reading, I just wanted to exemplify sort of how I'm looking at that. And there are different ways that I could have approached this layout too. It could look identical, but I could give different positions to this. So for example, if I wanted to say that these top three cards are at the surface of the issue and these bottom three are what are underlying it, higher consciousness, subconsciousness, what have you. I could look at them as also the card of these top three being the central focus of those, and these just supplementing that. Same for the bottom. I could be looking from left to right as past, present, future. I could turn this into a 9-card spread by laying 2 more oracle cards down here, just like in that 9-card spread VR that I recently did to Sylvain, where we could have past, present, future. These could be the 4 elements, and then what helps, what doesn't help, or whatever you would want to assign to those. Really, it can be anything that I want it to be, but for this, I really did just want to go at it a bit more loosely and just sort of get a snapshot of where my energies are kind of falling out right now and where I need to be looking to initiate some change as necessary. And usually I'm doing a tarot reading and just pulling an oracle card or two to supplement that as a final statement on the message. But in this case, obviously, I've had this oracle focus and I pulled just the one Margaret Peterson tarot card as my final note, just something to encapsulate what this has all been about. And if anyone did see my VR with the 9 card spread recently, you may understand why receiving the Father of Cups here added a certain layer of meaning for me, a card that comes up for me a lot lately, as a few of them have been. And so that was really something, I certainly, I mean, just with cups of the water element tying in with the water at the center of this, there's that at the surface. And then just for what, personal meaning that has for me, what I understand to be what's going on here very much ties in with that. And so it's been lovely working with these decks together. I think the coloration and the abstract design in all of them really has allowed an opportunity to lose my focus as to my sight, just to get more of that focus in my inner eyesight, if that makes any sense. Just appealing to that third eye and just kind of blurring from specific images just to get more of the essence. I'm just looking for sort of snapshots on where I'm at in the bigger picture of where I need to go. But of course, there are ways to continue to whittle this down to even more specific meaning. And naturally, every layer that I add onto this has honed this down. When I first laid these cards out, I did just do a preliminary reading of just these base cards just to see what was showing up for me. So then adding these smaller ones for more specifics and then getting this glimpse through the tokens and then the tarot card, it all feeds into it, and it really gives an extraordinary amount of food for thought as to how it all ties in together. But I love the shape of this deck, just being allowed to construct shapes like this. It's just visually very cool how it all snaps together, and it just really draws my eye to that central core focus, which helps me see sort of like the webs of connection through everything. And of course, in laying these houses down, I could have chosen those. I could have gone through the deck and picked those cards that relate to what I'm specifically looking to identify and address in the reading, and then just shuffle these and see where they fall within. But in this case, I just wanted to leave it all, open. Like, what am I not thinking of that I should be? Or maybe I have been thinking of it and I just needed to come down to help reinforce that. It's funny because as I was shuffling, I was specifically thinking of the signs card and kind of hoping it would show up, and then it did. So it's not always like, oh, I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what to think. Tell me. It's not always that. Sometimes it is just getting like that validation of what is on my mind and what I think might be pressing. So that's for any reading, right? With any deck. And whether it's tarot or oracle. I don't know that Kelly is still selling any of her Journey Oracle system here, but this is something that you could recreate with something else. You could lay down a larger oracle card and then place a smaller tarot card within it. Or you could place a small Lenormand card within it. You can play with that with your larger and smaller decks, and they don't have to be exactly coordinating like these are. They could be different decks, or maybe you have, say, the Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial regular size, and you also have the pocket edition. You could layer those onto each other to get at something like this. So it's fun to play with, and I guess I really don't need to go any further with that, but I just continue to play around. For as much as I'm asking the big questions over here, I've also been using it as like experimentation of different readings that I could do. And once again, I have to apologize for the handheld quality of this. It's like an impromptu thing. I'm sitting right next to it as I'm doing my work right now, and I just wanted to check back in with it. I actually laid this out yesterday, and I leave it out if I want to continue thinking about it. And so you just caught me in a moment of doing just that, and I thought I would actually share a bit of it again, even though I'm not going directly into what it's all about, what it means to me, but just more so how I use it, and just as something to consider with whatever you might have on hand. Again, with the larger cards, smaller cards, maybe you don't have these journey tokens, but if you have charms, if you have runes, you know, just like mixing a casting system with your cards, mixing tarot with oracle, so on and so forth. Okay, well, I'll cease my babble there. Bye-bye.